we have been walking through a series in the book of Nehemiah. And this morning, I have a topic I want to just lead us into. And the focus of this, I want to launch by having us look at a video. And so, if the lights be hit, we can enter in.
Who said that?
The lady at the store.
That is not a compliment.
Listen, it's an ugly, nasty word, and you are going to hear it. Nothing I can do about that. But you are not going to let that word hurt you. You hear me?
There are some people who think you don't deserve the same privileges just because of what you look like. It's not fair. It's not.
Remember, you can do anything they can. The difference is you gotta work twice as hard and be twice as smart. Come straight from practice. Yeah, Johnny? Guess I stopped you.
How's your review?
You were good.
You good? You
Yeah.
see?
You're good.
Okay. Good. Now, when you get pulled over,
I'm a good driver.
hey,
Don't worry.
this is not about you getting a ticket. This is about you not coming home.
I'm gonna be okay. Right? Okay.
It's not fair. But you keep showing up.
You are not pretty for a black girl. You are beautiful, period. Okay? Don't ever forget that.
Procter & Gamble ad has come out recently. How many of us have seen it? Okay. It's not been out very long. But that presents to us what, for some of us, is quite practical and quite real. And that is known as the talk. It's the conversation that has occurred within the African American community. And it has occurred not just in the past, but also in the present, and will continue. It's conversation, the talk, that basically instructs kids how to maneuver race in our present American experience. Unfortunately, those talks have also been done as people have gone to churches. They've been done by those who would have to go to certain churches and realize as they've gone there that they may not be accepted. They want to prepare their kids for what's coming. There may be certain of those conversations that are had in certain contexts as those who are of a different ethnic group move into a church as well, and realizing that not everyone there may appreciate and see them in the value of who they are. Maybe they're immigrants and wondering how will they view us, what will they think of us, think of how we got here. There are those who might come not even being assured of the fact that they will be welcome. But the intent is that going to a church, there is an understanding that that is a place you are to be loved and you are to be accepted. As a part of that church, that you are one in that church. The challenge comes so often for these kind of times because there are immediate and powerful pushbacks. What we go expecting, what we go thinking should be the case, sometimes isn't. And so in those settings, we are hit hard and we reel, maybe for a certain amount of time, trying to figure out how it is no different here when it should. This is not just something that we want to talk about as a church, and I want to give you a reason for that and tie it back into the book of Nehemiah, but it's something I think we need to talk about as a community, because communities, when you're a part of them, sometimes can be used against you. One of those illustrations is that which is known as a Ponzi scheme. Are we familiar with Ponzi scheme? Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're not, but you felt the pressure to say yes, so raise your hand. Anyway, let me explain what it is. A Ponzi scheme is a financial scheme, a financial fraud. It's presented as a system, saying basically, if you give us your money, we'll make sure that we will double, triple your return. We will take your investment and we will give you more for what you give us than what you receive. And so they say, you can trust us, we're going to invest it, take care of it. But the reality of it is, that's how it starts. After a while, the investment and the return doesn't come. After a while, you realize that the only people making money is the person at the top. Because what they've done is they've given out money and they've given it to keep you in the game, keep you engaged. But the reality of it is there is no system, there is no investment. They've got money coming in, and the whole purpose is to have it flow in, and then they redirect it somewhere else and bring more people in. Some of us may remember the big name in this area, Bernie Madoff. Okay? 16,000 people at some point invested in his system. He was able to keep this rocket going, and at one point, 20 billion in financial assets moved through his world for something that was not real. Now you may say, how is that possible? How was he able to do it? It's been shown that Ponzi schemes like this are able to work when somebody feeds off of their community. So, what Bernie Madoff was able to do is he was able to go to his synagogue, his Jewish community, and tell them, I have a way to give you a great return. He was able to get close to his rabbi, able to get close to the leaders, and get others to see him as someone they could trust, and lower their suspicion, and then buy in. It happens in many churches. There are many large churches I've heard of where someone has come in and they have this financial scheme, this Ponzi scheme. It's not presented as a Ponzi scheme. It's presented as a great opportunity. And they talk to the pastor, they give them gifts, and they talk to people in the church, and they have them buy in. And at first the money flows, but after a while, the person may even disappear. The way they're able to do that is to use a common understanding that we are all one. That we are all together. We're committed to each other. We are part of the same unit, the same family. We're all in this community together. And then after a while, as you lower your suspicion, as you raise your trust, you get hurt. That happens. Some of us who've been around church for a while, we know that happens. Some of us may be here today and we've got a bump or bruise with somebody who's here. That happens. There may be some who come and you've had someone who you wonder, are they not talking to me because I'm Latino, or not talking to me because I'm from another country? They're not talking to me because I'm black. They're not talking to me because I'm white. They're not talking to me because I make this much. They're not talking to me because I have this background. They're not talking to me because I have this achievement. It happens. Can we say that? Yeah. So if you're here and you're brand new and you're trying to figure out, is this the perfect church? We'll stop you right there. You just say it isn't. You have the perfect pastor, but not the perfect church. But the reality of it is, you need a community. We all do. And without a community, we can never achieve what this series is all about. Because to move from bad to good, to better, to best, you need a community around you that's going to comfort you, encourage you. There's going to be a safe place where you can come and try new things and trust and learn to love again and realize that as you give, others will give back into you. But I also want to let you know, in looking for that community, in investing in this community, there will be challenges. There will be problems. And so I'm going to tell you, invest anyway. Go in, all in, serve, love, and believe more, believe better. I want to show you that context today, because as we're now in Nehemiah, we come to a point in chapter 5 where we see this operating. Nehemiah chapter 5 is where I want to turn your attention today. And I want to focus straight on into the problems that are internal. Straight on into a community that instead of doing everything to build up and encourage the people, because they're under attack. They have those who don't want to see them build. Don't want to see them succeed. Don't want to see them accomplish the task they have. And as they've been a community, these attacks have come from the outside. This now is an attack that comes from the inside. And so in Nehemiah chapter 5, I want to look at three things. I want to focus upon the alarm that sounded. The alarm that sounded. It's given in verse 1. And then I want to look at the harm that's noted. The problems that have caused the alarm. That's given in verses 2 through verse 5. And then I want to come back and I want to look at some key points. Key points that we as a church, who I pray for always, that we would not be a place that hurts. Not be a place where community is not achieved. Not be a place where unity is not maintained. Because those are vital. We'll see that as well. And so in this account, we're going to look at these three, and I want you to walk with me as we go through it. It all begins in verse 1 of chapter 5. We come out of chapter 4, and in chapter 4 we see all these problems. We see all these threats and all these attacks coming from all of the neighbors, all of the enemies of Israel. The enemies of those who want to rebuild this city wall. And we said this wall has to be rebuilt. Because without a wall, it's like a city without police. It's like a city without law enforcement. And you know, if that's the case, then anyone at any time can do you wrong and you have no recourse. So they needed walls. Nehemiah has heard about his homeland, and so he travels back 800 miles to get there. And now to rally the people to rebuild the wall. There are those who have tried to attack him and attack them. And they've been able to fight them off. But the beginning of verse 1 says something very interesting. Really, I want to just have you note this. If you go back to chapter 4 and verse 19, it says in chapter 4 and verse 19, it says that there was a great work they were doing. If you go back to chapter 1 and verse 5, it says the great God and powerful Lord was the one who was working with them as they did this. But in chapter 5 and verse 1, it starts off very different. It says there was a great outcry. Not about the great wall, not about the great work, not about the great God. Something wrong was now causing friction and problems within these people. And so it says there was a great outcry of the people and of their wives against their Jewish brothers. Now it's very interesting. Don't miss this. It says their wives. It notes them specifically. To this point, as it talked about them working, the women were involved, the kids were involved at the time, but primarily it was the men who were doing the rebuilding, the men who were taking up arms. They note the wives because something was going on that affected the home. Something was going on that affected the family. Something was going on that now the wives can't keep quiet about, and they got to bring it up. And so they are now talking to their husbands, pushing them to do something, pushing them to get engaged, pushing them to change the situation. I am sure that at this time, as these men and as these families were sacrificing and giving so they could rebuild the walls, and as these men are going out and building and fighting and getting ready to fight, that at home there was a problem that the wives knew more than anyone else. You see, because those who are closest to a problem, or those who are closest to a situation where there is a problem, they know it best. And the wives were the canaries in the mines. Anybody familiar with that? Canaries in the mines? Again, if you are just saying yes and nodding your head, but you don't know what in the world I'm talking about, I'll tell you what I'm talking about. When miners went down into the earth and they dug down whatever they were looking for, coal or gems, usually if they hit a toxic gas, a pocket in that was released into where they were working, carbon monoxide may have come in, they would be killed and not know. And so it was developed that they would put canaries, little birds, into a cage and take those down into the mines with them. And every miner knew if the bird got sick or collapsed, they had to get out of there real fast. They had to, because they knew whatever hurt that very sensitive lung of that bird was going to hurt them in a short amount of time. And so the birds were more sensitive to the problem than the miners. And the birds warned the miners. And so the wives are more sensitive to what is going on in that city that's affecting the home. And so they're warning their husbands. And after a while, when the husbands realize this is going on, they all come and they say, we're not working anymore. We're going to stop the job. They're out on strike. There's a job stop right now. There is an intense argument and outcry, protest, that something is affecting their home and we're not going to go any further. Now, I want to give you a principle here. It's very important that you get this. Please, write this down. It's going to be on the board, and I want you to think about this. Unity breeds productivity. Unity breeds productivity. Say it one more time. Unity breeds productivity. You see, if you're not unified as a group in what you're trying to do, there is no way you're going to accomplish the task that's before you. You know that in a home. If a husband and a wife are disagreeing, they're really not going to be able to do very well in going against whatever they're up against. If a team is fighting amongst itself, it's not going to win a championship because they're too busy spending too much energy arguing and fighting with one another. It's the same thing in the church. A church has to be unified. The people of God have to be unified if they're going to have a major and important impact on people around them. You see that even in Ephesians chapter 4, when Paul just kept emphasizing the oneness that they were to have. One Lord, one Spirit, one faith, one baptism. He's saying, hey, don't you get it? You've got to stick together. Because if you don't stick together, if you don't see yourself as a unified force, I'm telling you, what God wants to do on earth as he already desires in heaven will not be accomplished. You see, because you're splintered, you're all over, and you don't see yourself, more importantly, as a unified body than you do as just individuals who come to church, hang out for a while, and then go home. And so unity always brings productivity. It is so serious that in the New Testament, God, when the church started, he strikes down a husband and wife, just kills them on the spot in the middle of the sanctuary. Because they came and they were lying to everybody else. They came and they said, hey, we're giving so much money, when they weren't. They came and they said, hey, this is from a good heart, and it wasn't. And God just says, look, I want to send a message that's supposed to ripple through time. And so if anybody else creates an opportunity for disunity, I want them to be warned. And so they lost their lives. Do you realize that we will never be a church that has an impact that will stand the test of time? We will never see lives changing. We will never see people who are breaking addiction. We will never see transformation occur if we do not realize that your life matters. And it matters as you are linked up with somebody else who's here. If you are a solo flyer and you're just coming in and leaving, and you're thinking you're doing this on your own, you're not progressing in your walk. You're not going from good to better to best. There's no way you're growing in the Lord. Why? Because church is a contact sport. The greatest growth you will have is that you're able to link up with someone else and have someone else be a part of your world. Let somebody in, and then get involved in somebody else's life. And if you can't do that, if you struggle with that, and I know, I've heard the hurt stories, I know, but that's what it takes. And so, repeatedly, we're told in Philippians 2, Jesus says this, he says, or Paul says this, he says, have the same mind. You've got to be unified. You've got to understand the value that God has done in putting us here together. And as we work together, as we live together, as we encourage one another, as we pray for one another, as we work through issues with one another, we grow and we will have an impact. And so literally, in this case, we see it in verse 1. There was a job stoppage. Why? Because they could not work through a problem. Something had splintered their unity. Now, the issues is given in verses 2 through 4, or 2 through 5. And I want to walk through those with you. There's about 4 different issues that are listed right here. The first one is given in verse 2. It says there, For there were those who said, our sons and our daughters are many. Therefore, let us get grain that we may eat and live. The first complaint is that as they were building the wall, as they were trying their best to get it done, as they were putting all of their energy into it, as they were serving to get this wall up and going, they realized that many of them were leaving the jobs they already had. They were not bringing money in. They were not getting paid by Nehemiah. And as they served and they sacrificed, they're saying, look, we don't have money to pay for grain. We can't get food, Nehemiah. And therefore, we're upset. We need food to pay, to feed our families. And so at that point in time, I can just imagine how the conversation probably went. You have these wives telling their husbands, look, I'm glad you're committed to Nehemiah. You and your buddy out there building the wall. But I don't have what it takes to feed the kids. We can't eat a wall. So you need to figure out some other way to help us out. And they're saying, look, Nehemiah, we understand. We need the wall. But somehow, some way, we've got to take care of our families. And then there are others who were in that group. He said, for also there were those. Look at the second group. This is verse 3. And he said, they were saying, we are mortgaging our fields and our vineyards and our houses that we might get grain because of the famine. So what they're saying is that literally, we keep taking loans. We keep going out and we put our houses up. And all of a sudden we're finding out that the land that we're put up, we can't even grow what we need in order to get money, in order to take care of our own families, because there's a famine that's wiped out so much. And probably there's overpopulation now in the city that's not been inhabited before for a long time. And so that which we need, we're not able to provide for ourselves. And yet, the very property that we need is no longer ours. The third one is given in verse 4. It says there also, there were those who said, we have borrowed money for the king's taxes on our fields and on our vineyards, and we're having a problem paying it back. In other words, although they were 800 miles away, they still had to pay taxes to the king in Persia. And they're saying, look, we don't have the money. We're not working. We're doing all of our energy, putting all of our energy on this wall. And therefore, we've got to go out and we've got to borrow money from our brothers and sisters here in the city. Jews just like us. And what we're finding out is that we have no way to pay them back. And then you go to verse 5. Look at verse 5. Verse 5, and we'll jump down a little. It says, yet behold, we are forcing our sons and our daughters to be slaves. And some of our daughters are forced into bondage already. And we are helpless because of our fields and our vineyards belong to others. What they're saying there is that after we gave them as a down payment or collateral our homes, our land, our vineyards, then we had nothing else. And so we sold our kids to them as slaves. And then eventually we had, even our kids were sold out. We ourselves became their slaves. Now, when they're saying this, you can almost see the challenges that are going on. Because right now, it's almost like you're watching the evening news. It's almost like you're watching some internet storyline. And it's talking about all of the problems in our society. Class distinctions, the 1% having so much and everybody else is in debt. It's talking about the fact that there are foreclosures going on around us. People who overextended themselves. Those who can't get jobs and their situations aren't very good and they're in need. But on top of that, you also see those who are fighting amongst themselves. They're gobbling up everything and not looking out for others who are in need. But there's something also very interesting here I want you to see. Please, note with me the fact that although he says we've had to put our sons and our daughters in bondage as slaves, then the second time he says, and our daughters were put in bondage. That word bondage is very interesting. If you go over to Esther, chapter 7 and verse 8, it's used in this context. If you remember the story of Esther, Esther is one who becomes queen. And yet all of a sudden there is this enemy to Esther's uncle, Mordecai, who says that he's going to go and he's going to wipe out all of Mordecai's people, not knowing that Esther is also part of Mordecai's family. And so he's going to wipe out all the Jews, but Esther is also a Jew. And so one day, Esther has been inching the king to understand that Haman, who is the enemy, is evil. And so one day, Haman doesn't see what's coming. He comes in and he realizes, all of a sudden, Esther springs the trap on him and tells him, the person who is trying to kill me and all of my people, that is Haman. At that moment, the king, who's been sitting with them, gets mad and he storms out of the room. Haman falls on Esther and begs her, please, please don't kill me. Don't kill me. The king comes walking back in the room and sees Haman on Esther begging for his life. But the king says, oh, you're going to sexually assault my wife in my own house? That's the term that's used here. So wait a minute. Some of them are in slavery. Bad enough. Is it such that the daughters that are in bondage are sex slaves? Is it that there are some people in the nation of Israel that are using the opportunity not just to get servants, not just to get land, not just to get property, but they're also now meeting their sexual lusts by some of the daughters that they're getting? And as you're hearing it, doesn't that sound like today? As we have sex slaves, as we have sex trade, as we're seeing people who are just kind of sold because they don't have as much. But the worst part about it is this is all happening in the people of God. This is all happening in the same church, in the same family, in the same community, in the same synagogue. And you say, no, that's just not the way they are. I tell you that's the way they are? Can I tell you that that's the way people are? Can I tell you that good church folks can hurt other good church folks? Can I tell you that in a place where we're one and we're all in the blood of Jesus and He's made a difference in our life, and hallelujah, you've won the victory, that we can still have people set up, and that there are still fights and challenges that go on amongst us? Why? Why? Well, here's the part I want to come to. In a nation where, just yesterday, I'm watching the news and I see what's going on in Charlottesville, Virginia. I see people being hurt because of bigotry. I see challenges that are going on, and I realize that a nation that is in need of hope, in need of something more than just people taking sides. And as we come together here today, from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different countries, different racial categories, different socioeconomic standings, that there's got to be some answer we have. And when we fail to have an answer for a world that's in trouble, when we fail to have an answer for a world that just can't get it right, when we fail to have an answer for a world that's splintering and dividing, then the question has to be asked why. You see, next week we're going to look at the response Nehemiah gives. But this week I want to steer fully into the problem. These were the people of God. They were the bigger problems than what Nehemiah was facing outside the wall. They were going right for the jugular with their own brothers and sisters in the faith. They were setting up others who were a part of their own faith community. How could that take place? Anybody else asking that question? Everybody's quiet. Nobody raised their hand. All right, thank you. One other person. I'm asking that question. How is that possible? How do we keep that from happening here? Because if we're not even interested in the question, if we don't even get an answer, then the likelihood it's going to happen is going to be strong. Can I tell you that the answer is in the first part of verse 5? The first part of verse 5 clues us in on a key issue. Look at it with me. In verse 5, chapter 5, in the very first part I didn't read earlier, it says, "And now our flesh is like the flesh of our brothers, and our children like their children." Wait a minute. What is he saying? He's saying, we're just like you. We're just like the ones we owe money to, the ones who are taking advantage of us, the ones who are putting our kids in bondage and slavery, the ones who are abusing them, the one who doesn't care where we get money from, the one who's not worried about how we make it or don't make it, the ones who are just gouged us. You're just like us. You got the same faith. We're supposed to be one. So where's the difference? Why is the difference? Well, can I tell you, the question really can break down to, we're human just like you are. We're trying to make it just like you are. We have hopes for our kids just like you do. We want better for ourselves and our families and our futures just like you do. But you're in a position where you just don't care about us. You see, I think the incredible part of verse 5 is that it hits it right on the head. If you lose the fact of likeness, that we are alike, that we are all in the same situation together, and if there's something that unifies us because of our faith, that we cannot separate ourselves to the point that we think somebody else is not worth our love and sacrifice and care. And that's what causes it. So let me give you 3 key points from this. I want to give you 3. I want you to think about it. 3 key points. Get a moment. I want you to write that. Put it in your electrical device. Think about it later. Here's the first one. The first one is that don't ever fool yourself into thinking that what you have, that what you do, that what you possess makes you better than anyone else. You see, because you lose likeness when you think that they're not like me. They didn't have my experience. They don't look like me. They weren't born where I was born. They don't dress like me. They don't talk like me. They don't like the things I like. And so, therefore, they're different than me. And therefore, they are less than me. See, the challenge that came so often as we look at Nehemiah is that Nehemiah is realizing that the people had gotten to a point where there were those who were rich. There were those who had the grain. Those who could buy the house. Those who could take care of themselves and provide for themselves. Those who could pay and buy people and sell them. And yet, there was no heart in it. Because they did not see their brothers as their brothers. They had lost that interest and that focus. And so, they could run over a group of people. Because they really weren't people. They don't believe what I believe. They could back up a few times and then leave the scene. Like Charlottesville, Virginia. Because they're less than me. You see, once you lose that, it sets you up to really act on the fact that you think you're that. And last time I checked, the Bible says we're neutralized by grace. We're all saved by grace. That means none of us should be saved. None of us could earn it. None of us could be good enough. And therefore, realizing how much we receive without us meriting it, earning it, then we should pass it on. So if you walk in here and you are in need, if you walk in here and you're a part of this family, and you say, hey, I may not even be one who believes in God. I'm going to love you. Why? Because you look like me. You got 2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. You got hair. Some of you don't, but some of us do. And yet you still look like me. You know, you're tall like me, or you're short like me. But I'm going to realize you are a part of me. See, these people forgot that. They lost that. Therefore, they could abuse and excuse their actions because they saw themselves as bad. Let me give you number 2. Number 2 is that there is a God who judges. And the God who judges owns everything. And it's very interesting. What the nation had done in these arguments that they had made were totally against his will. You see, God said you could loan people money. He said even if they can't pay for it, they don't have the money, you could make them your servants. And even your slaves, if you put that tag on it. He said that was okay. So in the people of God at that time, they could loan money. They could tag them with the tag of being their servants or their slaves. But here's the difference. They were not to apply interest. They could not charge them extra for loaning them money. You go to Leviticus chapter 25, you read that chapter. Please do that because of time I won't be able to. But look through that chapter when you get home. There's an incredible layout where God says, if there are those who are poor among you, something has happened, they've got a family, I want you to provide for them. I want you to help them out. I want you to loan money. But you cannot take advantage. You cannot make it so much so that after a while, you own everything they own. You wipe them out. They become your slaves forever. No, God said, I'm the judge. I will watch over you. I will take care of the poor. Therefore, make sure if you loan it, that you don't hurt them in the process. And then he also said, every 7 years, I want you to give everything you took back to them. He said, what? What kind of business deal is that, God? He said, look, I will take care of you. You make sure you take care of my own. You must have unity. Why? Because unity creates productivity. It creates you heading in the same direction. It blesses you. It keeps you as one. But if you start to just go after your own and you don't care about somebody else and you're giving them money and setting them up and using them, it causes you to splinter. And in the capitalistic society, we have no idea like that. Because when somebody's down and out, we got a chance to make money and we got a chance to get ahead and take care of number one, we do it. And that's okay. It's legalized. God said it may be that way on earth, but not in my standard. Every 7 years, you make sure you take care of them. Every 50 years, you let them out of slavery. You give them everything they've got. Again, Leviticus chapter 25. In other words, God says, I own the land, not you. I own these people, not you. I'm the one you got to answer to, not you answer to yourself. Be glad you're not poor. And therefore, the way you show that is by caring about somebody else. And not looking at them like, can't believe they don't go out and get a job. Can't believe they can't take care of themselves. I can't believe they're looking for handouts. I can't believe they're in this situation. I can't believe that they can't get it right. He says, get involved. Give them the money they need. Help them out. But do not look down on them. Help them. And I will make sure when everything gets turned back around in 7 years, and in 50 years, that you realize I'm going to bless you. You see, these people didn't realize that. They charged them interest, and they laid it on heaven. And after a while, it was too much for them to bear, and they lost everything. And so they come and they say, Nehemiah, we can't keep going like this. The very people who we call brothers and sisters are the ones who got us in a Ponzi scheme and are taking us for everything we do. Let me get number 3. Number 3 is that they were to realize that they were stewards. That means they were stewards of the land that they had and the land that they got from everybody else when they loaned them and they couldn't pay it. They took them into slavery or into bondage. Now, believe me, it's not American slavery. It's not that same abusive kind of slavery. It's not first century Roman slavery that we read in the scriptures. It wasn't that kind of slavery. They were your servants. They were your property. They were supposed to serve you, but you were not to abuse them. Why? Because 7 years, 50 years are coming. They got to be totally released. But you needed to know you're stewards. That's not yours. You're only taking care of them. You're stewards of the land. You're stewards of the grain. You're stewards of your wealth. But you're stewards of each other. And you see, that's the piece they really didn't get. You've got to care for one another. You've got to take care of one another. You've got to make sure it's not just about you. One day, a young man stood up and told Jesus, trying to look good, he says, Jesus, who's my neighbor? Jesus says, anybody in need. You're walking down the street, you see a man who's been mugged on the side of the road. He might be your enemy. You better take care of him. That's your neighbor. And so the same thing comes today. In a church, look around. Just do that, please. To your left, to your right. One more time, that feels real good. To your left, to your right. Those are the people you should care about. Those are the people you should get their names. You want to know how to care? Get their names. Try to figure out who they are. Try to remember next time you come. Hey, yeah, I saw you before. And if you're not good with names, let them know ahead of time. I won't mess it up. Every time I see you, I'm going to ask your name. But trust me, I'm trying. Get to know someone. Somebody comes up to you and says, hey, look, I need prayer. Things are not going well. Write it down. Remember to pray for them. Don't just take it and walk away and never do anything with it. That's not caring. That's not being a steward of one another. See, I believe God has something to this place. I believe God has something to these relationships. I believe God has something to this community. And we will never get there if we're just about ourselves. He believes that we can be more. Not just gathering, not just growing, not just getting people, but realizing we come together to make a difference in each other's lives. That doesn't happen if you come through here and you never have contact with somebody else. You never get just below the surface. You never open up. You never let them open up to you and care. And so, yeah, get a name. Get a number, possibly. Find someone that you can talk to and you will recognize it. And begin to walk and talk with others. Get an address. Let them know that hey, I'm open for business. I want to have relationships. You see, because you will never grow unless you become a part of a community. And this is a great community. And I want to encourage you. You become a part of a community. You become a vested interest in an integral part of it. When you realize unity creates productivity, and you've got to be a part of connecting. It also means possibly just sharing your story in something. You see, I know it's true. I was at a church in Grand Rapids once, years ago when I was going to school, and at the end of the service, I was out of it. I went to church because I knew I needed to be in church. I didn't want to touch anybody, didn't want to talk to anybody, didn't want to spend around time around, didn't want to go over anybody's house. When it was done, I remember one day when I finally slowed down enough, my studies, I was in Bible college looking to become a pastor, but I didn't want to be with any other Christians. That kind of works out, doesn't it? And I remember one guy, when I got close to, he says, you know, man, when you first came, I didn't know what was going on. Because the only thing I said, in the service, I just saw this door swinging in the back, and you were gone. So I know what it's like. I know what it's like. I've been bumped and bruised in church. I know what that's like. But can I tell you, you need others. And if we really believe the Word of God that says that we are brothers and sisters saved by grace, that puts us on an equal level. It means I need you and you need me.
Amen.
And if you don't, you won't grow. You'll stay on the outside. First bump and bruise, you're gone. You'll stay on the outside wondering why nobody's calling me, why nobody knows my name, why nobody wants to talk to me. Because you won't open up. And put up sometimes. There are going to be people who are going to mess up. There are going to be people who call you the wrong name. There are going to be people who won't be sensitive. There are going to be people who really may not care. Yeah, you got some here, I'm sure. Don't raise your hand. Don't put you on the spot. But can I tell you? Invest. Stay in line. God's intent, Jesus' intent, is never to have a child born in his kingdom that does not have a family on it. Never. He's not into homeless kids. He's not into to kids with no parents. And the church is your parent. And we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. But we are growing. And we must grow with one another. And we must only accomplish his will as we let him have his way. But you've got to strive for more. Today I was so blessed by our AV team this morning. Lewis had been out. Props to you, brother. He'd been out last night. He was cooking food and getting everything ready. And this morning, he was supposed to be at the AV console. And he wasn't. We were launching. We had nothing on the boards. He wasn't here. And so when I come in, I asked him, and they said, Lewis had a flat this morning. He wasn't going to be able to make it. And so, knowing Lewis wasn't going to be able to make it, they called OB. Now, I don't know why OB was still asleep at that point, but OB was still asleep. and OB was pushed into action. OB was on his way over. But Lewis showed up. Came walking in. Got to the console and gave us words. In the first song. In the first song. OB couldn't get back to bed, but brother, you need to get up early on a Sunday morning. He was on his way. But OB was ready. And Lewis delivered. The reason that blessed my heart this morning is because they had a heart to work. Like the people in Nehemiah. And everything doesn't work out. Everything doesn't always go smooth. Everything just doesn't fall into place always. But if you got a heart to work, then you push through it. You come. You get here. You connect. You deliver. He's worked 2 services this morning. OB's been 2 services this morning. Everything didn't work out right this morning. They didn't pout. Didn't send me a text telling me, I'm done with church. God didn't deliver. I'm not going to come back. I'm not going to deliver. They pushed through. So I'm here to tell you, if you're here, you got some bumps and some bruises, there may be somebody across the room that did you wrong, maybe something that you're not sure about. Can I tell you to push through? You know, every week or every month we have communion. That's your jubilee. 7 years, 50 years, those were all context of rebooting relationships in Israel. That's what communion is. You shouldn't take communion if you're not getting along with somebody else in this congregation. You should not. It's your opportunity to reboot, to get right, to re-engage. And so I'm going to tell us, I want more for us. I know God wants more for us. And I believe it's going to come. But you got to be willing. You got to be open. And you got to live. Church is not a viewer sport. It's a contest.
Amen.
And as you engage in it, that's how you grow. We all need community. Let me pray. As our worship team comes, let me pray.